Welcome to the engine room of Hong Kong's financial sector. We're jumping right into a massive paradigm shift happening as we speak. Right now, the industry is pulling off this incredibly tricky high-wire balancing act. On one side, you've got bleeding-edge, cloud-native tech, and on the other, massive, immovable, and highly regulated legacy systems. So how on earth do these two totally different worlds actually coexist?
Think about it for a second. How do you modernize a trillion-dollar banking infrastructure without completely breaking it? It's the ultimate dilemma keeping tech executives awake at night. You literally can't just pull the plug on systems that process the lifeblood of a global financial hub. The secret is a highly regulated dual-track approach. It's all about bridging the old and the new, without missing a single heartbeat of transaction flow.
In today's Explainer, we'll quickly unpack the dual-track architecture challenge, see exactly how microservices are optimizing legacy systems, dive into the strict security regulations, explore some domain-specific practices, and wrap up by looking at the 2026 executive talent landscape.
All right, let's get right into Section 1, the dual-track architecture challenge. We are dealing with a truly stark contrast in governance and integration strategies here. On the traditional side, you've got your Java JEE, IBM WebSphere, heavy Oracle databases, and legacy Swift MT messaging. That's your bedrock of absolute stability. But then you have the modern cloud-native stack that new virtual banks are obsessing over. Things like Kotlin, Go, Kubernetes, NoSQL, and the new Swift ISO 2022 standards. That side is all about pure agility and a fast-paced engineering culture. The real challenge, it's not about picking one over the other. It's about successfully integrating and governing both of them at the exact same time.
And here's the kicker. A modern senior systems development manager doesn't just get to sit around building shiny new apps all day. They have to act as the essential bridge between these two very different eras of tech. They might be leading fresh, greenfield development on AWS one minute, and the next, they're making sure that brand new code securely connects with the Hong Kong Monetary Authority's Central Depository, CMU OmniClear, which relies on highly robust, old-school mainframe architecture.
Moving right along to Section 2, how microservices optimize legacy systems.
So how do we actually pull this off? Well, the strategy isn't to replace the massive legacy core. That would be total chaos. Instead, we optimize it by wrapping it. To handle business logic, teams are pushing hard for microservices. They lean on frameworks like JPA or Hibernate to abstract those clunky legacy data sources, and then they encapsulate that logic into super nimble RESTful APIs. For data storage, it's all about a hybrid approach. You keep your massive transactional master ledgers locked down safely on Oracle databases, but you bring in modern caching tools like Redis to blast through high-frequency queries at lightning speed. It's the best of both worlds.
But wait, batch processing absolutely falls apart when you're dealing with real-time platforms like Hong Kong's faster payment system. To handle that insane volume of instant transactions, teams rely heavily on event-driven services. By using tools like Kafka, they can guarantee data consistency across the entire network through asynchronous communication. It's a seriously elegant solution to a very heavy-duty problem.
That brings us to Section 3, strict regulation and security defense.
Building the bridge is only half the battle, right? Because regulators like the SFC and HKMA are not messing around. They demand extreme urgency. When a vulnerability pops up, you have exactly 1 month to test and deploy a patch into production. And under the new CAP 653 critical infrastructure laws, a severe cyber incident gives you a tiny 12-hour window to report it, or 48 hours for standard incidents. That leaves literally zero room for sluggish operations. Your deployment pipelines have to be flawless.
Plus, tech leaders have to implement a strict, non-negotiable 3-layer defense system. Encrypting data at rest on a disk or in transit over a network, that's just baseline stuff now. The real hurdle is protecting data in use. Regulators are now demanding full memory encryption, meaning your plain text data is strictly confined to the internal cache of the CPU. That is a massive leap in technical sophistication.
And just to be completely clear, these aren't friendly suggestions. They're hard legal mandates. The HKMA demands strict segregation of duties, meaning your developers absolutely cannot touch the production systems. High-risk transactions must trigger two-factor authentication with instant notifications. Systems have to be backed up offline daily to fight off ransomware, and every single year, privileged user access has to be thoroughly recertified. Compliance cannot be an afterthought. It has to be coded directly into the system's DNA.
Let's pivot slightly to Section 4, domain-specific technical practices. Taking all this architecture and regulation and actually applying it requires intense specialization.
Whether you're building order management systems for brokerages, which need real-time risk limits and automated forced liquidation during wild market swings, or you're designing custody platforms managing trillions in assets on stable IX setups, deep domain knowledge is a must. You really have to understand the underlying financial math just as well as you know your code.
And when we talk about RegTech, or anti-money laundering, the technology has to be unbelievably smart. Simple keyword matching is a thing of the past. Your system has to catch reversed names, partial names, or weird abbreviations on global sanctions lists. But here's the regulatory catch. You must keep a human in the loop. The algorithm flags the alert, sure, but a real compliance officer needs an editable format to review before sending it off to the Joint Financial Intelligence Unit.
Finally, let's look at the human element in Section 5, 2026 Executive Talent and Market Trends.
The compensation figures we're seeing are honestly staggering, because there's a severe shortage of specialized executives who actually understand both the clunky legacy systems and the hyper-fast niche technologies. Salaries have gone through the roof. Generalist managers are having a really tough time. But if you've got deep expertise in rolling out generative AI or handling low-latency quantitative development, you are commanding a massive premium in the market right now.
12. That is the magic number of continuous professional development hours you are required to log every single year, just to maintain the prestigious ECF Fintech certification. The Hong Kong Monetary Authority is pushing this framework hard to standardize tech talent. To be recognized as a top-tier management professional, you have to actively prove you're updating your skills in cutting-edge stuff like AI and distributed ledgers.
We're also seeing a massive shift in how banks build their teams. To stay agile, institutions are relying heavily on fractional or contract hiring, bringing in senior talent for just 6 to 12 months to knock out high-priority migration projects. Plus, with the heavy influx of mainland Chinese tech giants and capital, speaking fluent Mandarin is no longer just a nice bonus. It is a hard technical requirement, right alongside knowing exactly how to implement those CAP 653 cybersecurity measures we talked about.
So what's the ultimate takeaway from this entire explainer? It's simply this. You absolutely cannot succeed by only knowing the old mainframes. And you won't survive by only knowing the newest cloud frameworks. You have to master the dual track. You optimize the old using the new, all while constantly championing these intense, non-negotiable regulations.
As we wrap up this deep dive, you really have to ask yourself, are your skills ready for this rapidly evolving, dual-track future? Are you prepared to be that essential bridge connecting a trillion-dollar legacy past to a hyper-fast, cloud-native future? It's a monumental challenge for sure, but the rewards for getting it right are totally extraordinary. Thanks so much for exploring this with us today.